You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Excited to have you joining me here today on part 2 of our Cabral House Calls. Yesterday, we answered somewhere around 8 questions, and really great questions that came in. Like I said yesterday, I'm going to be pointing people back to the stephencabral.com/podcast page if we've ever answered this specific question in the past. And the reason is we're going to get through as many questions as possible. We are now into June questions, so I'm excited to say we moved out of May and into our June questions, still running about 12 weeks behind, but we will get to every single one of them in the order that they do come in. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I am excited to get into these questions. So without further ado, I'm going to dive right in. The first question today is from Carter. Carter is asking, love the show. It's so helpful. I've had Lyme disease for many years. I'm a 20-year-old male, and my life is destroyed from Lyme. I've not found anything to help me get better. I know I have toxic mold exposure, heavy metals and environmental toxins in my body, and parasites and a terrible gut. I've tried so many things in both years of antibiotics and functional medicine doctors as well. I'm very concerned with my diet. I eat only grass-fed beef because it's all I'm able to tolerate, and even that is now causing me bloating. I'm very lost on how to start healing myself, probiotic, detox, immunomodulation. My immune system is attacking itself as well as via my mast cells from the years and years of having Lyme and antibiotics. I believe I'm just very lost, and it seems no one can figure me out. Any advice you have will help save my life, so please and thank you to any advice you have. All right, Carter. I'm going to be honest, we can absolutely help you with this, and here's why. You don't still have Lyme, most likely. That's the issue with everyone that I work with in my practice with Lyme disease. You most likely don't have Lyme. You have exactly what you stated. The parasites, the heavy metals, the terrible gut, the mold exposure, and you are obviously clearly someone with intestinal permeability or most likely what's called leaky gut. And that's because of all the antibiotics you took. So it's no longer the Lyme that you're really feeling. You're feeling the devastation from the harsh antibiotics that you're forced to take when you do have Lyme disease. Now, there are other methods. You can use natural methods for healing Lyme. There really are, and you can look those up, and I'm happy to do a show on that in the future as well, and I will, but that's a much more in-depth show. The shortest talk that I've ever given on Lyme disease is 90 minutes. So I'm trying to figure out how can I condense 90 minutes into 30 minutes. So I will figure that out, and I will make sure that I'm able to get that to you. So here's what we need to do. We need to start at the top. For you, we need to run an organic acids test and a stool test. Those are the two most important, all right? Without a doubt, because it's going to show you mitochondrial function, candida function, vitamin levels, all of that, your detox function with the organic acids test. The stool test is going to show me if you really do have parasites or not, H. pylori, bacterial overgrowth. So that's an amazing test in itself, okay? So the organic acids test and stool test are first. We can do it in pieces if you'd like. We can do those two first, and then we can work on the hormones if you'd like later. We can do the adrenal hormone test. You might need the thyroid, but most likely the adrenal hormone would be plenty for you. That would save you about $100 as well. And then the food sensitivity test, I just think that you have so much intestinal permeability, we could wait on that if you'd like, so we can save you the money there. And then the omega-3 test, we could simply use the omega-3s instead of running the test if you want to save the money. So at least in the beginning, what I'm recommending for you is the organic acids test, the stool test, and I would add the hair tissue mineral analysis as well. You can get a great bundle deal on those. That's what I would do. We will be offering a mold test soon. Stay tuned for that. It will be on probably about 4 to 6 weeks from now. It'll be the beginning of October, most likely. You will see a mold test that we will be debuting. It's a very simple at-home mold test to complete. But I agree, mold is something that we don't talk about enough. The problem is this, is that You can't fix mold in isolation. You have to open up the detox pathways. You need to fix the gut-based issues. You have to do a lot, right? So just fixing mold is never enough. And the problem is, I'm sure that you've done a lot of great things and probiotics and all that, but we need to work at a foundational level, Carter. You need to rebuild your body from the ground up. That's it. And you can do it because I was where you are now. I was already there where you can't eat anything. Everything causes bloating, right? And the reason you're eating just meat is because there's basically no fermentation in meat, meaning there's no fructo, oligo, di, mono, and polysaccharides in meat. But the problem is then meat eventually becomes hard to break down because what the reason is, it's the highest thermogenic food out there. It's difficult to break down. So, my team and I would be happy to help you with this, but you don't have to work with us. All you have to do is this. You can also recommend a local functional medicine practitioner that specializes in the gut. You need someone that specializes in the gut to run an organic acids test and to run a stool test with you. That's the minimum, all right? Carter, that's what I would do. Shelly's up next. Hi, one of my mom's friends suffers from chronic illness and can barely leave the bed for longer than a few hours a day. I was listening to a podcast and Dr. Cabral talked about a little on chronic diseases. I'm wondering if there are some naturopathic remedies that could help her improve her way of life. She's in constant pain. I don't know all the details of what is wrong. I just know what I've stated above. Shelly, really appreciate you writing in. You seem obviously like a great friend to the friend of your mom that you're obviously close with. The issue with chronic-based illness means that you've most likely had it for months, if not years. This person is now basically bedridden. What we need to do is figure out why they've become bedridden. Is there electrolyte imbalance or deficiency? Are there some types of toxicities, such as mold that we just talked about, right? Or heavy metals, or just overall liver congestion. When I talk about toxicity, I'm basically talking about your liver's overloaded, probably kidneys are now overloaded as well. There's some type of gut-based issue. So a person like this, you want to help them, but do they want to help themselves? That's the hard part. And I don't mean any disrespect. Some people, they just don't have it in them, meaning that for one reason or another, they're just not willing to do the work in order to heal. Maybe it's they've lost hope, or maybe it's they don't feel it's worth it, or maybe they just feel like this is their lot in life. And I use that in quotations because I've actually heard that before. And I don't like that. And so I want to help all people, and I certainly want to help your mom's friend. But what I need her to do is believe that she can get well again. Because if she believes, then she will run the lab test that she needs to do to figure out. And then she will follow the protocol in order to take action. And when she takes action, some things will work and some things will have to tweak. In the end, everyone, I believe, can heal. So Shelly, I would recommend the Big 5 lab test for your mom's friend to really get at what's going on with her. Okay, hopefully that leads her in the right direction. Corinne is up next. I'd love your insight on hereditary high cholesterol. My boyfriend has taken statin since age 24. His father had a heart attack at age 39 and also was taking statins. I came across so much information on the ability to reverse diseases by diet, lifestyle, particularly plant-based diet, and I'm curious if this is an approach for treating cholesterol that is said to be hereditary and thus requires medication for life. Of course, that offers its own health risks, and some argue it may not be an effective prevention against cardiovascular disease. To circle back around, is high cholesterol genetic, not just adapting the lifestyle of your parents? Can it be treated without medication? Thank you. Look forward to your trusted information. Corinne, you're probably a new listener to the Cabral concept, but you've heard me talk about high cholesterol before on the show. There are very few people who will ever need any type of medication. And even if they do, I would still do a plant-based medication instead, such as red yeast rice extract, which is the natural version of a statin. I would use omega-3s. There's so much that you can do. I mean, like we have whole protocols for high cholesterol because we're rebalancing the body at all levels. I mean, without a doubt, so if a child's 6 years old, they're eating just a normal, healthy diet for the most part, and they have cholesterol of 600, then we're looking at hypercholesterolemia. This is a true genetic-based issue in 0.001% of the population. I don't have the exact number on that. It's minuscule. We're talking about most people, high cholesterol, 250 to maybe 350. That is not, in my opinion, hypercholesterolemia. And that's not my opinion because I've seen people all the way up to 350 lower their cholesterol to normal. Should it be plant-based? Absolutely. Without a doubt. Okay. At least initially to get things under control. You can say, oh, cholesterol doesn't affect this, this, and this. Listen, there are genetic components to it. But even if you have the genetic component, maybe he's an ApoE blood type 4-4, right? He has the 2 4s for an allele. Well, he has to take care of it now because he could also be more prone to Alzheimer's. So that's why, in my opinion, you need to know what's going on. But even if it's genetic, it doesn't mean that you need a statin. Again, in my opinion, if you choose to use a statin, then that's totally fine. But with a statin, just type in statin side effects into Dr. Google. And by that, I'm just doing tongue in cheek. Just type it into Google. Type in statin side effects. And you're going to see a massive list of all of the side effects from using statins, one of which is cardiovascular failure because it makes your heart weaker. Very strange, right? We're trying to help our heart, but at the same time, we hurt it by taking statins because it lowers the enzymatic transformation of coenzyme Q10 to ubiquinol. So that becomes an issue because your heart is one of the largest utilizers of ubiquinone, which becomes ubiquinol, which is the usable version. So that's the place to get started. Literally, there's so many things that can cause the high cholesterol, but there's diet, there's lack of exercise, there's the ApoE allele, whether you're a 3-4 or 4-4, which is not going to be able to handle fats very well. There is obviously using the plant-based diet. There's the omega-6 to omega-3 based test. So again, what would I look at? I would look at the thyroid adrenal hormone. That's because low thyroid can also cause high cholesterol. Low vitamin D on that can cause high cholesterol. And blood sugar levels out of control can cause high cholesterol as well. So thyroid adrenal hormone. Next up, I would look at the hair tissue mineral analysis because it's going to show you heavy metals, which can also spike cholesterol. And third, I would look at the omega-3 test. Those are the three that I would do first. And of course, there's a lot more, but those are the three that I would do first. And I'm just such a believer because I've seen it over and over in my practice that if you rebalance the underlying root causes of the things that cause high cholesterol, well, lo and behold, there's no more high cholesterol left. All right, Chelsea's up next. Chelsea is asking, I started the 7-day cleanse and I was wondering if it's okay to miss a shake throughout the day. Not replace it with anything, but I'm just full from the other 3 that I don't even want the 4th one at dinner. All right, Chelsea, this is the perfect question to ask at cabralsupportgroup.com because you asked this on June 3rd. And it's now September 2nd. So I apologize about the delay. It does say that on the Ask Cabral webpage that these questions may take anywhere from 10 to 12 weeks. So ask that right over at cabralsupportgroup.com. Probably you did find it there, and we have a giant FAQ page as well. I recommend all 4 shakes per day. You can simply use less water. All right. And the reason is that it's purposely 4 scoops per day to give you all of the nutrients that you need throughout the day for those 12 hours. From approximately, it's even less than that, 8 o'clock in the morning or so till 6 o'clock at night. So you're eating within that window. But again, it's shake fasting for just about 10 hours. And then you get the 14 hours of complete fast. So hopefully this helps. Bryn is up next. Hello, my name is Bryn. I'm a 32-year-old woman. I struggle with hyperthyroidism and would love to get off my medication. I've been working with an endocrinologist for the last 3 to 4 years. Tired of feeling like I'm not the girl I once was. Always tired, weight gain regardless of being very active, and a healthier eater, low libido, amenorrhea, not sleeping well, etc. Would love to correct the problem, even though I was told I will be on levothyroxine forever, but I'm not sure where to start. Was hoping we could discuss my situation so I know what tests to buy and send to you. Thanks so much for your time. Looking forward to hearing from you, Bryn. All right, Bryn, I hope, again, that you've gotten your answer through the Cabral support group faster. It doesn't sound like you have hyperthyroidism. It sounds like you have hypothyroidism. So I'm going to write that in a question mark in the question itself so that when people are reading over your question at stephencabral.com/940 today for all of the questions and show notes. Because if you're on levothyroxine, you most likely don't have hyperthyroid, which means too much thyroid hormone, we'll put it that way, instead of too little. And all of your symptoms do sound like lower thyroid as well. Well, this is something that we help people with like every single day. I can't think of a day that goes by that we're not helping someone with digestive issues, hormone issues, including hypothyroidism or some type of immune-based, based function, because that's essentially what we do, anxiety and the sleep. We work on those things all the time, which I call the neuroendoimmunology-based system of the body, or neuroendoimmunological systems of the body, which is how the nervous system, stress essentially, affects the hormones, the endocrine system, which then affects the immune system, okay? All of these are intimately tied. When you are stressed, it also affects your digestion as well, and so that affects your immune system down the road. So this is what we do. I mean, I know that it might seem oversimplistic, but we do this. We run a thyroid adrenal hormone test, without a doubt. That's number 1, okay? Number 2 is going to be the organic acids test, and number 3 is going to be the hair tissue mineral analysis. If you can't afford all 3, if you only do 1, you'll do the thyroid adrenal hormone. If you can do 2, you'll run the organic acids test, because so many people with thyroid-based issues also have digestive issues. So we run that Of course, if you can ever run the big five, you do the big five. Like that's it. Like the big five gives me all the information I need to look at you. The only other one that you might want to add is a stool test, but not for you, Bryn. This is for someone with digestive issues, but the big five does include the stool test. So you would run the big five, Bryn. I would get all of your information. I would read all of your labs, and I would give my recommendations to the health coaches. And the health coaches actually come to me because they're brilliant. And so we've been working with me for years. And what we do is we've already gone through the certification that other people are going to be able to go through. And they essentially come up with a plan. I mean, they do. I go over it. I let them know if anything's missing or if I would take something out or if I would make any changes, okay? So you get my recommendations. The health coach then takes you through an hour phone call for the Big Five labs, gives you all of your test results and explains them to you in just regular real-world speak so you know where you're at. And they give you then the wellness plan based on you, based on your bio-individuality of how to get well again. And so by that we mean we don't treat disease, but we work on the underlying root causes, and we work on hypo and hyperthyroidism all the time. So what does this mean? Those are the labs that I would run: the thyroid adrenal hormone, number 1. Number 2, the organic acids test. And then number 3, the hair tissue mineral analysis. And if we're going down the line, I would then run the omega-3 test, and then the food sensitivity test would be last. So Bryn, hopefully that helps. And of course, we'd be happy to help you out as well. All right, Jeanette's up next. Just one more caveat is that if you don't feel that you want to order these from equilibriumnutrition.com and you want to do it on your own or with another local practitioner, you're always welcome to, okay? I'm going to give you the labs to run. You can look them up on equilibriumnutrition.com under the labs tab, which, by the way, has all of our current labs and also the bundles that we offer. And then there'll be a couple more labs coming up towards the end of this year, the mold toxicity being one of those as well. So hopefully that helps. Okay. Jeanette is up next. Hello, Dr. Cabral. My son will be 12 in July. He's not even on the chart for growth and height. He only weighs 55 pounds. He's a bit of a picky eater and doesn't care for most meals. Not big on soy or beans. He suffers from allergies as well, so I'm wondering if there's a gut issue. The doctor says his growth plates are displaying late bloomer syndrome, and he is closer to a 10-year-old than an 11-year-old. They said that if he doesn't grow, they can give him a shot of testosterone. Do you know how we can boost it naturally? Also, I want to get him on a good multivitamin with omega-3s, probiotics, and vitamin D. Could you possibly recommend a brand? Thank you so much for all you do. Jeanette, I'm really happy that you brought this information. I cannot recommend enough against giving a child hormones. I just can't. Children develop in their own way. Some boys don't really hit puberty until 15, 16. Some a little bit younger. 12 would be just the start, meaning like, I just know for me, from the age of 14 to 15, I put on 20 pounds. I didn't lift any weights. I didn't really change my diet too much. That's when my body started surging and producing more testosterone. From 8th grade going into freshman year of high school, I literally put on 20 pounds. And people who saw me like, what happened? You know, you went from this like super skinny, wiry kid to all of a sudden filling out a little bit. So I just want you to know that it's different for each child and it can be different for yours as well. But I completely agree with you. And I do suspect a gut-based issue, an absorption issue, okay? Even if your son is a Vata body type or ectomorph, I would run the organic acids test and hair tissue mineral analysis. I would absolutely do that. That's that. Now, there are other things you could do. You can do the adrenal hormone test for testosterone. You can do the thyroid adrenal hormone if you wanted to. But we could just use some normal nutritional supplements for the other things. But let's see if there's a leaky gut-based issue. Organic acids test, hair tissue mineral analysis, great bundle. And I think it's at least $100 off that. Okay. I would do our multivitamin, the daily activated multivitamin. Okay. Instead of 4 for adults, I would use 2 for your son. And then eventually I would do 3 after about a couple months. And then I would ideally, instead of the activated multi, I would use the daily nutritional support shake. But if he won't do a smoothie, well, then of course I would do the multivitamin. I would absolutely recommend that like right away because his body might just not be getting the minerals and the vitamins and everything that he needs. And let's make sure he's getting enough protein. It is important. People think that protein's not important. You'll get enough in whatever you eat. That's not necessarily true. So I thought it was true, but I was studying, this is about, I don't know, I never can remember anymore. Let's say I was passing my boards 7 years ago, 8 years ago or so, somewhere around there. And one of the books that I was studying is just this massive, massive book. It's a couple thousand pages written in like 6-point font. And it's called, I'll get you the name of that. I have to figure it out again, but it's like Modern Nutritional Biochemistry or something like that. And there absolutely is protein-based deficiency And it usually kicks in if someone's not getting, well, just put it this way. I've always talked about it before. Aim for 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. To make it easier, aim for half the weight in protein per day. It's not a lot for your son, but look at his ideal weight. Maybe it's like 65, 70 pounds or so. Aim for about 30 grams of protein to 40 grams of protein per day, and you'll know that he's getting plenty, okay? You can get that from any source you want, vegan or fish or meat, whatever your son chooses. Okay, multivitamin, omega-3s, absolutely. We have a great omega-3 support liquid for children. He can use the capsules. He would just need one, or he can do a half a teaspoon of the omega-3. Simple. You can also just mix it into his food. He won't know it's there. The daily probiotic support, I would absolutely recommend 1 to 2 capsules of the daily probiotic support per day, and without a doubt, the vitamin D. And for your son, at about 55 pounds, well, most kids would do well at about 1,000 to 2,000 IUs per day during the winter time. And if he's not getting a tan during the summer, the same as well. That is a great place to start. If he would do the daily fruit and vegetable blend, which is the greens, I couldn't recommend that enough either. Basically, that comes down to the Dr. Cabral daily protocol plus an omega-3 and vitamin D. That's what most people should be doing. Honestly, like that will do most people a world of good in this toxic world that we live in. So Jeanette, hopefully that was helpful. Let's answer one more question. This question is from Heidi. I'm 56 and in general good shape. Just wondering, I have rosacea. Any way to get rid of it? Also suffer from dry eyes and possibly a touch of ocular rosacea, and I'm currently taking immunotherapy for allergies. Is there a certain diet, mineral, or supplement that can help with skin issues and allergies? I also have lots of anxiety, but try to manage it with exercise and regular sleep. I'm taking Armor Thyroid too. Nothing life-threatening, but just annoying. Ha! I heard you for the first time on Food Heals podcast, and I'm an avid listener. My daughter lives in Boston, so I may have to see you in person one of these days. Until then, I'd love your opinion, advice. Thanks. Heidi, thank you for the question. I'm going to actually give you a quick answer to this, and I'm going to get one more as well, question in, because I've done many podcasts on rosacea. So I'd like you to go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in rosacea. You'll learn that a lot of this is yeast-based, fungal overgrowth, candida-based. So I want you to run the organic acids test, and I also want you to run the thyroid adrenal hormone test without a doubt, because if you have allergies and you have any of those things, look for leaky gut first. Look for some type of intestinal permeability, which is turning on the immune system. You could also run a food sensitivity test if you're someone that does eat eggs and dairy and gluten and a lot of the high sensitive based foods. We can also help you with the thyroid-based issues. That's why I run the thyroid adrenal hormone. So if you were to only run 2 labs, again, I would run 3. I would run the organic acids test, thyroid adrenal hormone, and the hair tissue mineral analysis, and then I would run the food sensitivity test. And while you're at it, you could just basically for free get the omega-3 test if you did the Dr. Cabral, the big 5 labs. So choose which ones work for you, always, of course, based on price. I'm sensitive to that as well. I totally understand where you're coming from. And I remember being a sick, I was not 17, I was about 19 years old when I finally found a functional medicine practitioner. And I understand the cost to pay out of pocket for these labs. I had to do the same. So I do understand that, and I am sensitive to that. So, of course, we could help for that. Just for allergies alone, we have an allergy protocol that works great, but I still want you to work on the underlying root causes while using the allergy protocol during your peak histamine-based times. All right, let's get in one more question. From Rebecca, I heard you on the Skinny Confidential podcast. I've been looking for a great functional medicine doctor, and while I can Google them and read individual reviews, I wanted to cut through the noise to find out if you had a recommendation for someone in Southern California, preferably Newport Beach area. Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, Rebecca, I'm going to remove your last name from this question. So, I'll end on this question. I didn't even know what the question was going to be, but that is my time for the day, so I want to respect your time and keep it under the 30 minutes. So, what I recommend is this. I cannot recommend a lot of individual-based practitioners because oftentimes they specialize in something, like they specialize in hormones or digestion or whatever it might be. There's a lot of great practitioners in Southern California, but I don't even know what's going on with you, Rebecca. So I can't give you a great recommendation because I don't know if what you need is what they specialize in. So if I were to give my stamp of approval on this practitioner and you went to them and it didn't work out, then obviously that would not be ideal and I would not feel ethical about making that recommendation. However, what I can tell you is this, is that you can look at, like you just said, reviews. You can look at the Institute of Functional Medicine, which is where I studied after I did my doctoral work, for practitioners at the Institute of Functional Medicine as well. But I would say our first practitioners will become certified by the new year. They'll start in September, the first 100. And for the ones that move through it quickly, they'll already be level 1 certified in the new year. And then they'll take level 2 in January, and then by the spring, they can become level 2 certified. So then I'll be able to make better recommendations because I will have trained all of the level 1 and level 2 practitioners. And so then I'll be able to give specific recommendations, and I will post them on our website as well. More information to come on this starting this week. So stay tuned for the upcoming podcast this week, where I will be talking more about this certification. And then I'll be able to give specific recommendations, not only all around the United States, but all around the world, because we'll have practitioners in Australia, the UK, Canada, Europe, you name it. We're hoping to train people all over the world so that we can make these recommendations, because right now I have quite a waiting list for myself personally. You can work with my health coaches, which means you also get my recommendations as well. And then anytime you run a lab. So Rebecca, the other thing is you could just run a lab or multiple labs through equilibriumnutrition.com. And I read all of those labs and also give recommendations. So it's kind of like you can run labs and you get the recommendations from me in a call with one of my health coaches, or you can join our private practice and you can work with one of my health coaches. Currently I'm booked up, but in the future I'll have more openings. So, or you can work with someone locally. Those are basically the 3 ways to do that. And if I can help in any other way, feel free to pop into cabralsupportgroup.com and we can help answer that question same day. Thank you everyone for tuning into today's part 2 of the Cabral House Calls. Hopefully you tuned in yesterday as well for all of the community questions on that show. And I look forward to being able to bring you hopefully an amazing Mindset and Motivation Monday podcast tomorrow. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. Truly, truly am amazed and grateful every single day of all the things that all of us have been able to accomplish. And really, I believe the greater mission of what we're trying to do, which are serve others, help them get well, lose the weight, and finally feel alive again. Take care, everyone. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.